Back for another edition of the Preps Plus Insiders. I'm Mike Finnerty of the Sure West Sports Show, joined by my partner Joe Davidson, the Sacramento Bee. And Joe, what you got cooking in the paper?
Well, we have something in the paper every day, and this week we caught up to, speaking of cooking, some football players from Franklin High School, and Joey Banks and Robert Sanders, and they lean towards the pickle juice. And it's a noxious, hideous brew, but kids are funny. You know, what helps them keep hydrated? What's a good superstition? That's what they do. So just a reminder that we've got good photographers in Jose Luis Villegas, and we try to go out there and humanize some of these players. I'm not a pickle juice guy, but I'm a Franklin football fan, so that was kind of fun.
I think we could take up pickle juice, though. Might give us an edge. All right, Joe, you and I had a chance to get out and see the Kennedy High Cougars, the football team, a team that has had some struggles in recent years, but they've suddenly broke their 28-game losing streak. They've won 2 in a row, and they've got talent on that team that we know.
Yeah, in this cooking thing, we'll talk about a team that's kind of brewing in the right direction. Matt Costa's the coach, and if you have a coach in place, you have a chance. And Kennedy is an academic boot camp in Greenhaven. We've seen success across the board in other sports. Football's struggled, but if you get Matt Costa, who's already on board, he's a big Notre Dame Irish fan, and he rolled up his sleeve and showed you the tattoo. They have a player named Floyd Hillis Cooper, very impressive young man. Did not play football as a freshman, sophomore, and then got the bug last year. So that's the key. If you're going to talk about your team on campus, why don't you participate as a fan, a booster, or a player? He is participating 318 yards last week in that game that we saw against Florin. I'm impressed. He's a very talented player. TCU, Oregon State taking a little bit of interest. If you don't play, then colleges will never know about you. So get off your backside and go out and contribute. That's the whole key, because when you lose in football, the players say that the kids on campus say, oh, you guys stink. Well, you know what? Do something about it.
Yeah. And one thing to remember about these two teams, there is talent on the teams. They just don't have a lot of guys in terms of numbers of guys. But we're impressed by the football that we saw. And, hey, we hope they continue to see wins, as does Florin. All right, Joe, we're going to move from Kennedy and Florin over to Stadium. We're going to talk about the Placer High football stadium that now has new lights. I was so impressed. I got a chance to get out there on Friday and see them play under the new lights, and it's certainly bright, a much different look than how it's been.
Had to shield yourself a little bit.
Yeah, it was bright, but it was a good bright.
And you know, this is a football stadium that's been in place right there in that right spot with the field, same spot in Auburn since 1970. So those lights had aged, but the community, they invested in it, got new lights, and now you can see the wing tee. Now you can see Todd Valeri. Now you can see the quarterback who goes by Strange. Throws a nice ball, not a strange ball. And you can see a Hillman team that may be a Pioneer Valley League champion. So part of the community, get new lights, and photographers like it. You know, you got to go out there and shoot it. So another guy you saw in the daylight last week was Marcel Brown. We talked about these senior running backs like Wadis Parker and Dylan Cainrath. Maybe the best-looking junior in all of Northern California is Marcel Brown, running back Rio Linda. You were very impressed with him. What do you like about him?
Well, I'd seen him before, but, you know, going against Oakmont last week, we knew they were hitting their stride, Rio Linda, that is, and we knew about Leo Scadabu, their other big running back, but Marcel Brown runs with speed, power. He'll outrun you. He'll bull you over. He is an impressive junior running back for them, and I tell you, you know, we've talked a lot about Rio Linda on this show as the season has unfolded, and they are going to be a force. And Marcel Brown, to think that he's a junior and we'll be back next year is kind of scary.
And, you know, in Rio Linda's simple. Run the ball between the tackles with a power back, a speed back, and Marcel Brown, 254 yards on 8 carries. I'm not a math major, but that's pretty good average.
And 5 touchdowns isn't too bad either.
Not too bad, not too bad. We got some Week 10 football to break down here, Mike. We're already here. Can you believe it's already at the end? And then next week we'll be previewing playoffs. What's the biggest game so far for this Week 10?
I would have to say the biggest game, and I think you agree with me here, is anytime you're playing for a league title in either the Sierra Foothill League or the Delta River League or the Delta Valley Conference, that's a big game. And in the Sierra Foothill League, you've got Rockland at Del Oro. They're neighborhood rivals. Coaches on each side know each other well. Both really good teams, both on winning streaks. You and I are really excited about this.
Yeah, and you know, too many blows to the head for you. That game would be in the other side of Placer County at Rockland.
Oh, yeah, you're right, at Rockland. Okay. We don't want to go to the wrong stadium. That would be bad.
Smelling salts. But,
yeah, smelling salts.
Both teams like to run the ball. Yep. Dylan Cainrath had 54 carries a couple of weeks ago against Granite Bay, so he's not afraid to carry the load. Evan Holtz is a sophomore running back, just getting warmed up. Very impressive player, 200-yard games. 2 good quarterbacks, good defenses. Might be a 13-10 type of game. What about the Delta River League? That's not decided yet completely either.
No, it's not. You've got Pleasant Grove taking on Folsom. This one will be played at Folsom's home field, which is at Sheldon. That we know. And this is a battle. Yeah, Folsom's probably the favorite going in. They light everyone up, but you can never count Pleasant Grove out. They got talent all over that team. Ian Broom, the running back. You've got Dre Terrell, the quarterback. So don't discount them, but it's going to be tough to beat Folsom.
Folsom is just so prolific.
Yeah.
And Folsom has had 3 games this season, Mike, in which it has scored on the opening kickoff. And so they're everywhere. And they're playing monstrous defense. We saw that 35-0 shutout over Oak Ridge earlier this season. Could be a team that goes 14-0, but it would not be a colossal stunner if Pleasant Grove won. We'll see how Pleasant Grove recovers from its 28-14 loss at Oak Ridge when Oak Ridge played really well. So, all right. How about the Pioneer Valley League? We've talked about Placer. Placer will go up against Terrell Anderson of center, who plays every position. This kid is a one-man wrecking machine.
And don't discount Joe Swin of center, the nice running back, linebacker for that team. Another key factor for center. And again, a toss-up game. You hate to keep saying that, but it truly is a toss-up game. Both teams can score many different ways, and again, it's a toss-up. What do you think?
I'm going to go with the momentum of the shaved-headed Hillman, of which I would fit right in, by the way.
You would?
I could be an honorary captain one of these days, maybe the national anthem. But Todd Valeri does everything. He's one of the unsung players in the section. He plays running back. He's on defense and special teams. So the Hillman, defending champs, playing well, longest winning streak in the league, go with them. And then Saturday showcase to cap the regular season in grand style over at Jesuit in Carmichael. The Marauders will play host to Oak Ridge. Really like what Oak Ridge does. Balance, can pass with Ian Book. Has good defense with Thomas Malman and other players who just stretch teams. And then Jesuit, Jason Ellenberger is a nice quarterback who's got great wheels. 5 touchdowns rushing against Sheldon last week in a 69-40 win. 268 yards rushing. How many quarterbacks have done that in Sac Joaquin section history? This is a dangerous team. They're going to be in the Division I playoffs. These teams could play each other again in the playoffs.
Well, this is a game that we talked about on the radio show, that if Jesuit to win by 2 touchdowns, we wouldn't be surprised. If Oak Ridge was to win by 2 touchdowns, we wouldn't be surprised. Of course, watch out for Ian Book, Oak Ridge quarterback. He's just as impressive as Jason Ellenberger. A guy that's really made an impact on this season for Oak Ridge is Drew Lukowski, the running back cornerback for them. In Jesuit, so many guys. Bo Bisharat, you've got Austin Marks, guys who can do a lot of things. And that's one thing that's been impressive by Jesuit this year. They're a tough team. They're not a soft team. That's a tough team.
Yeah, and Austin Gates on the offensive line, or tight end, and big, powerful line and defensive line. And maybe the toughest guy on that roster might be Ross Evans, the defensive line coach. This time next week, we will start breaking down the playoffs. I think in a little peek ahead, Mike, we're looking at a great field in Division 1, 2, 3, and 4 loaded. We don't know where Folsom will be. We do know that the playoffs will be good. Let's just keep hoping we have good weather.
Yeah, we can't wait. All right, Joe, just a reminder to everyone to catch the Sure West Sports Show every Tuesday on Comcast Sportsnet California. Airs at 4:30, re-airs at 10:30 the same night. Also re-airs Wednesdays and Thursdays. No reason why you can't miss it. And if you do, be sure to DVR it. And of course, we do a radio show as well.
Every Saturday, live, 9 to 10 a.m. on ESPN 1320. Link later for podcast for all of those people who sleep in, like we'd like to, on ESPN1320.net as we try to big picture high school football. It's a great area for high school sports, no doubt.
And if you are tuning in now to the Preps Plus Insiders, remember, new show airs every Monday morning. It lasts all throughout the week. You can catch on sacb.com. And no reason to miss this show if you want to know about high school sports.
It would be irresponsible.
It would be. All right, folks, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.